Okay, in this video we're going to be checking out the software that's on the Dark Knight Nirvana. I did a video previously on the hardware aspects of this. I'll put a card in the corner to that video if you want to check it out. So I'm not going to be covering all those features in this video. I finally got a working, working transmitter this time. It has actually a vanilla version of OpenTX on here, and so I figured to go ahead and turn this on and show you that vanilla version first before the I guess the Underground FPV version is on here, so I'll have to flash that on here. And this is the way it came from the factory. I'm just going to kind of quickly go over this because I think that a lot of the sort of inner screens are going to be similar in the Underground FPV screens and everything. Obviously, this is all touchscreen. It is OpenTX, so you're probably going to notice it's going to be fairly similar in a lot of aspects to just like a OpenTX running on like a Tyrannus radio, for example. Okay, so we'll just take a quick look at the interface here for OpenTX. This is a vanilla version of OpenTX for this radio, and you go here to that's the model menu, or actually the model menu here, this little airplane, and here you can change your model name, timers. This is all the same as in regular OpenTX. It's just you have a nice touchscreen instead of using a bunch of screens and buttons. You set your switches here, your internal or external RF. So the internal RF would be the FlySky. Yeah, so the internal RF would be the FlySky transmitter, and if you don't want to use that, you just go ahead and turn that off. And then the external RF, you have these options here: PPM, XJT, Crossfire, and R9M. But no multi-protocol, so you can't use a multi-protocol module with this yet, or at least on this particular build. Go ahead and turn that off. You could probably use it in PPM mode, but then you have a lot of latency and you can't use any of the OpenTX features for setting up your models. And then the next page here is the Heli Setup, and then the next page here is the flight modes. And then you have your inputs here, set up your switches and your channels. And this will be your mixer here on the next page. And then we have outputs and curves. I believe, oh, there's still more. Logical switches, special functions, and this is the last page is telemetry. So you can probably tell this all looks very familiar. It's just regular OpenTX in a touchscreen interface. We'll go get out of here. The next menu item here is going to be the radio setup, and here you can set your date and your volumes for your sounds and haptic feedback, backlight, and actually I'm going to increase the duration of the backlight. Let's make that 30 seconds. Keeps turning off too quickly. And you can change your brightness here, on brightness, off brightness. So all this stuff here is pretty much the same as regular OpenTX, just on a touchscreen interface. You have your SD card, global functions, hardware, and you just, to get to the other options, you have to slide over this top section here. Calibration, and we have your version. So this one's called OpenTX NV14222. This is still not in OpenTX Companion yet, so you can't make any special builds until that's in there. I guess the developers from OpenTX still think this is beta. And then the last menu here is going to be the one in the corner. Here you can select your model. If you have multiple models, you can switch to a different model. And then you have channel monitors here, so you can monitor your channels here. It's all the same as on regular OpenTX. Don't have any logical switches set up in this model. Go and exit. You could reset your statistics here, like your flight time and all that. That's all normal. And you can see the touchscreen is not very sensitive. Sometimes it takes multiple presses to select something, which is a little bit annoying. And then this is your statistics on your session here. Debug menu, your memory and stuff like that. And these are your analog outputs for probably these are for telemetry. And I think that's pretty much it. It covers your basics on the OpenTX interface. This is the vanilla version. It's probably going to be updated still from this what I got here. Obviously, hopefully they'll put the multi-protocol module in here. Now, this is probably the one that you're going to see on the Banggood version of anything that's non-Underground FPV. So just want to go ahead and I'll flash the beta firmware that I got from Underground FPV onto here, and then we can look at that interface and kind of compare to what we just saw in the vanilla version. Okay, so I got the Underground FPV firmware flash on here, at least the latest version. See, the splash screen is a little bit different now, but it looks like the model menu here is the same. Let's take a look. Doesn't look all that different. Wasn't expecting it to be that different. So let's see if there's any new options here for internal RF. Still FlySky. And external RF, still the same ones, PPM, XJT, Crossfire, and R9M. So no multi-protocol module option here. I think for the flight demo, where you actually use this and fly something, I'll just probably use the internal RF and the FlySky protocol along with the FlySky receivers that came with this. So let's moving on here. Heli Setup, that looks the same. Flight modes, inputs, and that all looks the same, all the same. I don't see anything different here in the model menu. Transmitter setup, and this looks also the same. No different there. SD card, it all looks the same. Hardware calibration looks the same. Okay, so under version here it's NV14222. Looks like obviously a special version, and this was dated on September the 6th. Not sure if there's a newer one out yet or not. So there's these buttons here that weren't on the other the vanilla version. There's a quick start guide that looks blank. User manual also blank. So they're probably going to fill that in with something later. Factory reset and firmware update. So some new options there. I think that's it for this menu. And then user interface, that looks the same as well. Not all that different. Let's go over here in this menu. And this menu doesn't do anything. Interesting. This one was working. Oh, now now it's working. Very difficult to pick stuff just using the touchscreen here. So I'm a little disappointed in the touchscreen, but this looks all the same here. Channel monitor. Yeah, that's not what I wanted. I actually wanted to pick the. Yeah, that's not what I wanted either. I wanted to pick model select. There we go. Yeah, so that looks the same. And this one under about, nothing. Channel monitor looks the same. Yeah, so don't really notice a whole lot of difference here. So at this point I'll go ahead and I'll set up a model. Actually, setting up a model in OpenTX is going to be the same, just using this touchscreen here instead of a bunch of buttons. And I'll just set up the inputs and mixer, set up a couple switches, and I'm going to actually use the bigger of the two receivers that this came with that had the diversity antennas. I'll put that on something in the next video, and I'll go and fly it and give you my impressions on how this feels, and also hopefully they'll have RSSI. We can see what the range is like on that one on the FlySky system. Anyway guys, so it looks like they're still working on the software side of things here. Not quite ready for prime time yet, but obviously as newer versions are coming out, updated versions of the Underground FPV firmware, I'll go ahead and I'll make a new video later on if there's any significant changes. But for the next video, I'll go ahead and bind this up to that FlySky receiver, and we'll take this for a fly, and I'll give you my impressions in terms of how it feels and what the range is like. So that'll be in the next video.